So welcome to our group again, talking about the man you are called to be. We're excited to kind of go into our next phase, dealing with resilience and some of the pieces that are part. But we're double excited that we got a person joining us. As you can see, Mr. Turner's not here. He's hiding out somewhere, probably on vacation. We'll have to talk about that later. But taking Mr. Turner's place, because you got to always have somebody who's ready to fulfill the chair, is Mr. Donald Polo, who works here as our English teacher. Do we have like sounds where the crowd goes wild? All right, so what we want to do is kind of just let's go through some of the things on. What I love is that when we finish the one step of it, we go into the pillar two, and pillar two talks about resilience and getting ourselves ready. Resilience is built, not given, and so I thought all of that was really, really a home stretch. But I wanted to hear some of you guys' thoughts from that area of resilience. I know you sent out a Jay Z song. Was that Jay Z?
Cool.
Oh, DMX.
Oh yeah, slipping.
Slipping.
Yeah, slipping.
Can you give us a few bars of it for those that don't know?
I can't recite anything word for word, but
come on, slipping. Don't fall. That's what you said.
Hey, I can't get up. I'm slipping. I'm falling. I got to get up. That was the last part of the chorus that he touched on. He was saying he can't get up at first, but then eventually, like, he got up, and I think that really touches on the resilience that we have to have in order to keep going in this life, because it's not easy. You know, we got to be able to keep going. And I think it was day 19. They talked about it. It starts in the mind, and I think that's everything that we do in life. It starts in the mind. Whether you're going to the gym, whether you're getting up and going to school, whether you're going to work, like, it's all about your mindset and about whether or not you're telling yourself, hey, I can get through this day, and I can work on getting through the next one once I get through this day. So
that's interesting, because it's almost so like the mind, like if I'm tired or I can't do it and I start telling myself I can't, was doing negative thoughts, I kind of start falling into those negative thoughts or negative habits. So I do think that that's interesting, but I think the hard part about it is sometimes how to shift your mind. That's when people around you are negative, or you're negative yourself, but don't realize that you've kind of went into a toxic area. Like I don't necessarily have like, this is the action that you do to.
Yeah, I think it's one of them things where it's like I think everybody kind of heard the saying, everybody got like two wolves inside of them, and the one you feed is the one who becomes stronger. So I think that like that resilience piece like is one of those things you gotta feed, like, and it kind of go back to where it said it is owned, it's not given to you, or it's built, it's not given to you. Like it's a skill that you gotta work on. It ain't none of that come overnight. And resilience come with the struggles, with just the everyday life, with just trying to push and kind of go through it. But I definitely know that the one that you constantly feed or try to feed is the one that gets stronger. And it's the same way even with the bad side. If you're constantly feeding the negative or the laziness and everything like that, that becomes easier to deal with. Versus, you know, what's unnormal, what you're not used to.
So I think that what it reminds me of is some stuff that we talk about in class, right? So we talk about conditioned thinking, right? A lot of times you don't even know you have these conditioned thoughts because it's just so normal to you, and you grew up that way. And so the hardest part is catching your thinking. So you got to think about your thinking. And if you can't do that, you just caught up in the motions, and you're just doing what's used to you.
Yeah, facts.
And when you start doing things that are different, your mind gets shook a little bit, you know, but that uncomfortableness is growth, you know, but a lot of times we go to what's deep in our mind, what makes us comfortable.
Yeah, I say that we learn how to function in dysfunction.
For sure.
So dysfunction is all around us, and we can learn and say, well, I handled it. And little do we know that we've become dysfunctional, or we've accepted the dysfunction, and we think that it's okay, you know, because we've always done it. So, and we made it through, but nobody ever sometimes thinks that if this is dysfunctional, I need to fix it so that I can fix my mind as well on that.
Yeah.
That's always the hard part in that.
Yeah. And I think it's one thing where it's like all your thoughts, not facts. A lot of it is anxiety. So a lot of it is catching the thoughts right beforehand, and then kind of doing the same thing, making sure it all align.
Yeah, I think it go back to me, like yesterday at football practice, me and Mr. Woods was talking, and we like some kids they just have it in them. Like so when I think about it, it's like the mind is so strong. Like AP was saying, like you gotta build that resilience within yourself. So then when you're going through life, you're going through changes. Like no matter what you're going through, you're like, okay, well my mind is set to be resilient. If I fall, I'm gonna get up. If I fall, I'm gonna get up. But that gotta be like instilled in them, and they gotta want to take that on for that to kind of be like, a norm to them, so to speak.
Yeah, that's why I thought day 19, win the battle in your mind before you fight it in the world. I heard a quote and I thought about it because I was like, I gotta share this with the guys. The quote said, when you talk to people, you actually talk to their filter. So you don't really talk to people, you talk to their filter. And their filter is made up of emotions, past experience, and trauma. So when I'm talking to you, and this happens all the time where people say, well, why you say it like that? And you're like, because the emotional past experience and the trauma is what they heard because they filtered out what you just said. And so they don't realize that, you don't realize that every time you're talking to them, they don't hear anything you say because the trauma and the filter has changed the way it comes out or the way it goes in. And so when it comes out in a different way. So when we're trying to change our mindset to be able to fight in the world that we're in, especially as men, we have to then sometimes say, let me think about this filter I'm talking to, because how many relationships have we been in where, sometimes we paying for the sins of the other guy that was in that relationship, and so, we hear, it's just you, and you're like, I didn't yell. It was the way you said it. It was what you did. It was how you did it. It was where you took me. And all of those things are like, because I'm dealing with the filter.
So I'm going to ask you a question.
Actually talking. Yes.
So how do you, and this for anybody, how do you evolve to that person to where I'm not using that filter like when I'm receiving something, right? So like we having a conversation, how can I get rid of that filter and just hear exactly what you're saying?
So anybody can answer it though.
I think it's one of the things where insecurity comes into place. And it's like, it kind of like, and kind of one of the things where they say like, never take nothing personal.
That's my go-to.
Because when you, like most of the time you can't take nothing personal because of the filters, because you don't know the past experiences and what they went through. So when somebody come off to you like that, you gotta be like, man, what's wrong? I know my intentions was pure.
Right.
So whatever it was that caused that barrier, it got to be something there. You might not be able to pinpoint it, but you know it's something there, and that's that. But I think a lot of the insecurities that we deal with internally, even if this person don't know that, he don't know he just triggered the insecurity in me. But I think when we check that insecurity prior, then we able to kind of like, go past that barrier.
Engage,
But I think the more you sit in that insecurity, whether you want it to come out or not, it's gonna come out.
And I'll add on to that. A lot of it ties to the ego. That insecurity is feeding the ego, and when you don't master the ego, it's gonna consume you, and that's the side of you that's gonna come out. And it's tough because I think sometimes you have to balance like, okay, this is the standard that I have for myself as far as how I'm treated and how I'm gonna treat people, but then you also have to, like what Mr. Williams said, not take it personal.
Yeah.
So being able to look outside of yourself.
Yeah.
I got a question though.
Yeah.
I knew it was coming, a question.
what if that ego is part of your resilience? And if you lose that ego, you lose that resilience.
So I think
that's a great question.
That's a magnificent question. I think that is part of also, if we go back to previous chapters, the things that we struggle with as men, not being able to be vulnerable, not being able to stand up, not being able to do some self-reflection in the mirror, and all those other days that we talked about. I think sometimes we get caught up in that I gotta be this way because this is the way I'm supposed to be as the man, or this is the way I'm supposed to be in the relationship, or this is how I was taught the relationship's supposed to be based off of whoever I saw in the relationship. Sometimes maybe it's based off love and hip hop, And so I think that's the way my relationship's supposed to be. And so then what happens is we don't realize that we are now becoming someone else versus saying, this is really who I am and this is what I need. This is what I need to feed me. And many times if we stop and think, we really don't know what really we need in a relationship. We're just going by what happens in a relationship, and that's why sometimes communication is not good, because I'm supposed to guess what you want. I'm supposed to guess what you need. And if you smile, I'm like, I hit it on the head. And if you do the other things, then I really hit it on the head, right? But if you don't, then I'm like, what's wrong with you? What just happened? You liked the last time we did that, or you liked when I did. And literally, I'm still talking to your filter, but I'm also holding my own filter of like, I ain't gonna let you see me weak. I ain't gonna let you, because we're not supposed to be considered weak or anything like that either.
And it's really a balancing act from my perspective, Mr. Polo. Like, yes, that ego can, be your resilience or add to it. But then I also think you have to know when is a safe time and place to turn that off. Like
when's too much.
Yeah. And when can you let your I can let my guard down around you all. But like, when do I have to have it up? Like when I walk into an office or a meeting with central office or other APs or other principals, I might have it up because I don't know what they got going on.
Yeah.
But when I'm here, it's like, okay, I can.
And you would hope that you could develop relationships that will encourage you to be able to let those ego down also. But I think the most powerful thing when we talk about that, and I still hold fast to that, you can't always be the smartest person in the room. If you're the smartest person in the room, something's wrong, because then what are you learning?
Right.
All you're doing is pouring. And the problem is, we as men always think that we have to pour. We have to pour in a relationship. We have to pour into our kids. We have to, and there are some things that are standards that we say, because here's the other thing about standards. Standards are the minimum that we accept. It's not the ceiling. It's the minimum that we would accept. But most people think, I got standards, and that the standards were, that's the minimum. So what you got to start thinking, like, this is my standard, but that's not my that's not my bottom line. I should have more, up there. And so we get stuck in that this is my standards and not think about all those, because once again, we have to be a certain way because we've been conditioned that way, either through our parents, through our experiences, through our different traumas. And so it makes us respond differently to different people.
And even society. Society, and it's kind of the one Chad would say, like, we wake up with these heavy expectations. Like I say, we wake up with these heavy expectations on us that sometimes we ain't even agree to accept. But like, society just like, hey, here it is. Yeah. You this black man from here, you have to be this certain type of way. You this person from this neighborhood, you got to be this certain type of way. And it's very important that we be mindful of what's being put on us, and then be mindful of the times that we can be vulnerable and we can open up in the right settings. But I think that ego piece and that resilience, like, give us that grit and kind of give us like our identity and help us be able to walk through some rooms and walk in some of those rooms where we might feel uncomfortable, but that look, you know what I'm saying, give us that chip to kind of keep going and push through. So I think it's one of the things where it's like it's a balance.
What else? I just think that it's important that, and maybe this is probably a different question before we run out of time. Like, what does it mean to be vulnerable? Like, because when we talk about that, it doesn't mean that we have to, sometimes when I hear, the guy who's vulnerable, does that mean he was like sitting around with a bunch of tears crying? Or, I mean, it's not, vulnerable is not equated to being soft, but I think we equate it to being soft. You know what I'm saying? And so if we talk about that, you have to be able to be vulnerable. You have to also understand your filters. You have to also be able to let down your ego and stuff. That vulnerability is a part of all of that.
So there's a, Then we just talked about phones
we
being
did,
on silent.
And I don't know why mine's going off.
Oh, you had something to say? I was just gonna say there's a chat or day 17. Change will break or build you, and I think when it comes to like being vulnerable, like if you keep carrying it by yourself and you don't have like an outlet, you can either let the stress of whatever's happening or changing your life break you, or you can release it in certain areas. Like me, I work out. That's like a way for
Everybody
me.
see your muscles.
Oh my gosh! But I also have my friends and my people that I talk to and that I can express myself with. I held my first poker night last Friday, and it was just like a cool time with just guys just sitting around chilling, you know, and talking and just shooting the breeze, you know. And that's a way that I released. So I think you have to be able to have those spaces and pockets where you can release what may be breaking you, you know, and put it out there so you're not holding on to it.
So I'll say something. I feel like as a man, I feel like I'm a very emotional man and a very vulnerable man. Like I wear my heart on my sleeve. You know if I like you. You know if I don't like you. I'll tell you to your face how I feel. If you ask me if I'm okay, I will give you a real answer. And I feel since I walk around with that as a man, society and the people around me don't know how to handle that. It becomes too much for them. And even other men, they're like, why would you say that? Why would you let another person know that? But me, I find the vulnerability as strength, right? And so the more I project it, the more I realize that they're not used to men doing that.
Right.
So when you get a man doing that, they don't know how to handle that. And they don't know how to take that in and how to pour back into you. And that's been my problem.
Yeah. I
I don't even know if that's a problem, no, Bolo, because I appreciate your approach and how you do that. Like,
Well, I'm glad you appreciate it because not everybody appreciates it.
But I think that comes from you being used to a strong man in your life and being outspoken like that and being able to hear that, and you don't get it as something coming off to you. You look at it as rather constructive criticism or a man just speaking up for himself. But when you're not used to that, you get it. Damn, why you saying that, man? Why you so? You don't have to say that. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So you kind of get it. But I tell people all the time, man, people think emotions like this weak thing and everything. It take emotions to take a life. If you don't have that emotion, you can't do that.
Fact.
So it's not just always a bad thing when you're vulnerable. You carry these emotions. That's a gift and a curse, and that's a two-way street. But I think being able to like see that, I think you're always gonna come across them people just not used to it. But that's our problem, even with the toxic masculinity thing. Like people not used to masculinity like that. And in this world, this day and age, that's like a unicorn today, right? That's abnormal from the world that we live in now.
and I'm gonna add to that. All you doing is telling the truth.
Yeah.
That's you just telling your truth, and a lot of people are not comfortable with speaking their truth because of either how it may make somebody else feel, and they don't want to ruffle no feathers. They just want status quo. And with you, Mr. Polo, you like, nah, I'm gonna get my piece off.
But I think when you do speak your truth, like if you speak your truth to me, then I need to know like, well, what is that you want me to do to help?
But that's the thing. Sometimes just hearing
And
the
I need
truth
to know that.
is enough.
But that's my point. So I need to know that. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's like you walk away saying, thanks, I appreciate you listening. Or it may be, you know what, I need you to blah, blah, blah. I need you just to check on me. That would just help me. Or I need you to do some authentic caring versus sympathetic caring, where you're just doing it out of sympathy. It might be something that I'm able to express, and maybe I can't, but it might be something I can express as to what I need. I'm telling you how I'm feeling, and this is what I need. And if I know what you need, I can say to you, Jordan, I can't do that.
Yeah.
That's not in my wheelbarrow. At least you know that. So then you know what you can expect from me. Because I can say, I can give you the ice cream, but I can go buy you ice cream when you say, you know, that, but I can't do the other part.
Right.
So at least you know that. And the problem, I think, sometimes is when we are vulnerable, people always just try to fix us. That doesn't mean I'm broke.
Fact.
Yeah.
But they try to fix us. But we also don't know how to tell them what we want.
What's wrong?
Yeah, and I was just gonna say that, like, sometimes we don't even know what we need, and when we don't know what we need, people do try and like fix us or
Walk on eggshells.
or walk on eggshells. Like, dang, he might explode on me. It's like,
You need to call somebody. Did you talk to somebody? I just talked to you, right? I just gave it to you. But I think sometimes, hence going back to I'm saying, I keep thinking you cannot be the smartest person in your group. and not saying you have to be dummies, but I just think that's important because I guess if you're the dumbest, you know. No, but I'm saying that.
Hold on, who the smartest in right here?
You know what?
No, who the dumbest?
I'm just gonna close my eyes. I'm not pointing at all.
Confidence, dog.
But I think it's important because maybe Polo will express how he feels, and then maybe I can help him figure out what he needs, or maybe after he expresses it, he's like, I feel better now. Yeah. Just like sometimes you have a good cry, or a good scream, or something like that. You're like,
it feels good.
I feel better now. I just need to let that off. Versus somebody saying, let me fix you. And, you know, some days I just may need a hug. Some days I just may need blah, 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 you know. And so we have to be able to figure out how to express that as well. Yeah. So, I mean, we talked about a lot today from being vulnerable and what vulnerable is. We had an assignment last week, fellas. You weren't here last week, right?
I was not.
No, you left early.
I left early, so I don't know what the assignment is.
So, Jordan, because Mr. Turner is hiding, you had an assignment. Did you do the assignment?
I did not complete this.
Did not complete the assignment.
We are
all right,
terrible students.
So before we go, I'm going to give this assignment to everybody again because we got to come back and talk about this assignment. Did you do it, Mr. Turner?
Yeah,
right.
But it wasn't. I did it, but it wasn't. You said it had to be somebody, a total stranger. It wasn't a total stranger.
So the assignment was because as men, we don't compliment men enough, and we don't say.
I mean, I like that flower shirt.
But he said it got to be somebody you don't know. See, that's
so
why.
Like you might be walking downtown.
That's a tough assignment. I ain't
Yeah. It was a
So you
tough
might be walking downtown.
They're gonna be like,
somebody and you're like, you know. And so the other piece of that
Wait,
was that
ask,
when
does
you
it gotta
compliment,
be
you couldn't be like, I ain't trying to hit on you or anything. I
was gonna ask, does it have to be a
straightforward say
another man we compliment or
I agree.
Yeah,
cause that's easy.
See, that's easy, huh?
That's easy work.
Right. So the assignment still stands. Next week,
I like that.
we have to now do 2 because we were supposed to have did 1.
Okay.
We got to find 2 strangers and find something that we can compliment them on.
Oof.
2 male strangers that we can compliment them on. That means when you look at a man, you have to figure out, what can I say that's nice about this person?
And they got to be outside of Michelle Clark.
It has to be somebody you don't know.
All right, I don't know some of these students, so I can.
Oh my God.
I don't know.
Okay, so then outside of Michelle Clark.
Yeah, see, because I was about to go out and find 2 people I ain't talked to.
But you know all the students.
I do.
So that wouldn't work anyway.
I could find 2 people though.
Oh my God. So you can go right on Madison and Laramie.
But
you will actually find a lot of people on Lake and Laramie.
I'm good. I go right across the street to Bill.
Straight up.
Right by
the green line. I'm telling you.
No, I'm all.
Hey, you may make some days.
Something to compliment them on.
You make some days.
All right, our time is up. Thank you guys so much for listening. We value your opinion. Please feel free to reach out to us if this is helping you, or give us any ideas as we continue to go through the book and kind of just talk freely about some of our struggles and being vulnerable on this platform. So I'm Principal Anderson.
I'm Mr. Jordan.
I'm Mr. Williams.
Mr. Driscoll.
Mr. Polo.
And on that, and on behalf of the absentee of Mr. Turner, we say everybody have a great day.
Peace.
Peace.